How you guys doing?
Hi, Aaron. Real well. How about you?
Aaron,
I'm good. I'm good. I was surprised. I'm just sitting here waiting, and all of a sudden, I'm like, boom, there's like a music studio, and then a very different music studio on the other side. So it's nice to finally be able to talk to you guys. Congratulations on X-Men 97. I'm sure you've
oh,
seen the
thank you.
fans are really, really loving the show.
Yeah, it's been really
Yeah,
fun to see. You never know how it's gonna go. You know what I mean? You can't ever know. You just
no.
do what do the best you can and hope for the best. But it's been really fun.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's been fun for us to watch too. I can't lie. So Andy Taylor, I want to know, like, how do you what do the 90s sound like?
That's a great question.
That's
Go
a good
ahead,
question.
Taylor.
I guess it depends what you're listening to in that era. I mean,
Right.
since we lived it, I'm thinking of everything from new wave to sort of dance music to Radiohead to I mean, if you go really early in the '90s, obviously like Nirvana and that whole movement. But I think of um, for X-Men, I think of sort of what would those characters be listening to, and that's kind of what I think about for X-Men.
Right on. I mean, it really is like a wide breadth of like genres and styles and applications, just like the X-Men kind of in
Of
its own weird
course,
sort of way. There's all sorts of stuff going on.
absolutely.
I think you guys really set the tone in episode one in like a real way during that warehouse party. How did you guys come up with that approach to that kind of dance music that sounds like it should have like CNC Music Factory adjacent styling?
I mean, that was the Marvel team and Bo sort of coming at us with like, "Hey guys, like, let's go for a sort of a dancey vibe here, and let's like lean into what you guys would think would be playing here." And so Taylor and I just kind of leaned into that, like almost to the point where like we thought like yeah, it's almost like for this show has been really interesting because it seems like with everything we do, it might be wrong because it's so fun to do. And then to have people react, like even the creatives, like there'd be times when they'd be cheering when they'd hear like a first playback that we do, you know? And it's just so much fun to have so much enthusiasm for trying interesting ideas that I don't know any other project where these ideas would land. You know what I mean? It's a very
Right.
like rich in sort of tapestry and sound. And so I think that's just been like honestly like a dream that doesn't seem real.
Right. There's like a surreal feeling to it, you know. You guys were at the premiere in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I was way up in the top, but
Oh,
it was like
sweet.
a very, very like you go to a lot of these Marvel premieres, everybody's very excited to be there because they're all really huge fans. I can tell
Absolutely.
you there was like an audible whole breath and then release of cheers when the theme music came on.
Yeah,
Did you guys do anything to the theme? We all love the music. I have to ask the theme music question.
we did. We did. Yeah, we took it and look, that music is iconic. I think, it's a perfect piece of music, and it just brings me back to that my childhood, and it's just like we both love it. So I think it's finding ways to subtly do things without ruining it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Stay out of the way of the greatness, add to moments where you can help elevate something or change something in a way that feels more befitting to today. Because I think also a lot of the sounds from that era bring you back to the '90s. So it's going to be choices and decisions like, hey, maybe rather than that DX7 or whatever it may be, we should use choir. You know what I mean? Like whatever the choice may be.
First of all, you blow the dust off of a DX7. Just it's like, hello, old friend. It's been a long time. It's crazy. I mean, like Prince era drum
Yeah.
machine talk is what people come to our. Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
man,
Dust that bad boy off.
I
It's like
love
a
that stuff.
Lindrum
Oh
machine
yeah.
and like stuff like what in the world. And I know all the people who listen from our normal podcast like, what are you talking about? So with that too, what are the hallmarks of like the X-Men animated series and X-Men 97 are using the background music to really kind of mold and shape the emotions of a scene. I had a question about when you have Magneto just dropping truth on folks at the end of episode 2. How did you guys approach like the pads and stuff that you were using in that? Because I thought it was really, I'm like, it's not just the fact that he's dropping bars on these people. There is some slight nudging from the soundtrack going on as well.
I mean, yeah, and that's such a fun scene because like what you said is perfect. Like Magneto is dropping like truth on everyone, and like yeah. And it's like in a way that feels so good that like I want to just like not write music and just stand and flex like the lack of muscles that I have like while he's talking, because it feels so good. And so for us to work on that, it's very much about like how do we bolster that emotion. Um and without pointing fingers. And what's fun is like there's no need to like he's giving everything that needs to be given. And for us, it's just about like standing like behind him and giving little bumps to like some of the story. But it feels real good. And then the creatives on the team had this great idea, like to get specific. They had this great idea. We actually continued the piece to build until the very end, and they were like, "Hey, what if we drop out into just some like old school, like early 90s, like keyboard playing the same theme, but get really quiet on his final, like, that final moment when he says what he says." And it's just like, oh, such a nice, like, it's a perfect example of like the whole team coming together, them suggesting that. And then we kind of do that. And it's like, oh, that just makes his line land even better. It's so fun.
Yeah, I mean, don't make me
Yeah.
let you
Yeah.
down is like,
Yeah.
whew,
Oh,
goodness. Oh
yeah.
God.
Yeah. I want to start just using that every day in my life. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask a question too, because I know people are going to ask. We just had episode 4 drop this week. There's a lot of Marvel arcade nods in there. Did you guys sample any of the sounds from the Marvel arcade games, from the X-Men arcade games, to make those sequences in Jubilee story?
It's a great question. We talked about it for sure. Taylor, go ahead.
We did talk about it. Yeah, I think that was definitely considered. We did consider sampling some stuff, but in the long run of testing and doing things, we actually just brought out old synthesizers
Okay.
and drum machines, and we processed things and we would chop it up to sort of create that effect. Because we also had to use like the Magneto's theme and
Oh yeah.
X-Men's theme and like, but we wanted to do it 8-bit style, so we had to process it and do different things. So sampling in the long run didn't end up working as much, but it's a great idea though. But that's kind of where we landed.
Listen, I can't imagine what it would be like to have to decompress all those files from like an arcade game. It's I do not blame you for being like, let's just get this. We could get these crunchy sounds without having to do all that.
This.
Guys, this has been so wonderful. If you guys want to come back and just keep updating me on the weird different styles we do, I would be absolutely open. Thank you so much for your time.
We would love that.
Thanks,
we would
Aaron.
love that. Thank you so much, Aaron.
Thank you. No problem.